Hello everyone, and Sil here, back with another video for Hearts of Iron 4. In recent games I've discovered that conquering the USA is getting harder and harder, or I'm getting worse at the game. But let's have a look at Italy and the pizza time achievement. Let's go for an early war with the United States and beat them. Iron Man historical focuses, and here we are looking at Italy. To get the United States, we can either use naval invasions or we can conquer Canada first. I think we have the time for it, so let's do that. Getting Canada means going through the UK. Getting through the UK means buddying up with Germany, but we're going to do that anyway. Let's start with a few civilian factories. Since we'll be doing early wars, we'll start with guns, artillery, electronics, and then radio, and tools for a little bit more production. Never forget that Italy doesn't start with artillery production, nor with anti-air. The planes are crap, so I'll just move these out of here. We'll finish whatever ships are building. We have a few factories left and we'll put those on guns. Something like this. First focus, Ethiopian war logistics. I mean, we're going to the United States, but I'll be damned if we lose this war here. These are the troops that are already in position. We'll just take the rest and divide them all over here. Something like this. You can assign whatever generals. Do note that if you're going to change ideology, some generals might disappear. What I'd like to do is go all the way down here and assign Carlo Vecchiarelli to the main army. He's a level 1, but he's also a mountaineer. That can be useful later on. I'll just grind this guy at infinitum. And the other one will just, whatever. Field marshals, these guys look old. This is Balbo and he usually dies in a plane accident. Nothing to do about it. Graziani, yeah, well, he picks another career if you change ideology, so probably best not to use him. Badoglio is actually pretty good because he gets a second slot soon enough and then he can get logistics wizard. We'll set this to motorization priority so far as we have motorization. Garrisons, local police force, and as for the air force, we'll pick out the close air support and all the tactical bombers and add them to the Ethiopian theater. No need for fighters. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? And I was about to say 5 speed, let's go, but what I'd like to do here is take this mountaineer here, right click, shift right click, and just let him extend the front line and your troops will do the rest. Nothing to worry about by any means necessary. You can see here the mountaineer is extending the front line. And we'll do army primacy next. They're extending the front line and forcing the Ethiopians to shuffle their troops around. I mean, this one already looks empty. Alsa, let's take it. And we get territory and 2 new troops. Add them to the mix and extend the front line. $50 political power and we'll justify a war goal in Austria. This is optional. Later on we'll be invading the UK. Without Austria we do not have a supply line through Germany and we will have to rely on local supply. It's entirely possible to do that, however it is significantly harder than using Austria as a supply road. So if you want to do this even faster, skip the justification on Austria and just justify on British Malaya for your war goal against the UK. We'll be doing that a little later. We've pushed back the enemy. We'll take bold attack here, so Vecchiarelli will get more attack. And we'll get logistics wizard. No, this is an accidental encirclement, but probably because of those 2 troops here. Let's get Servizio Informazione Militare. 70 political power, and our second justification will be against British Malaya. Come on, you guys, get on with it. Let's get Professional Officer Corps. And here we go, Addis Ababa. I just like to puppet a lot of it. War reparations and resource rights, if you can get them. Now that this problem is taken care of, let's go to occupied territories, release Eritrea and Somali Sultanate, and return East Africa to Italian East Africa. That'll take care of some of the garrison problems. Let's set up for our war with Austria. I like to use Vecchiarelli with infantry, mountaineers and cavalry divisions and put them on the Austrian border. All the rest will go with our number 2 guy, Robotti, on the French border for defense. These are poor excuses for tank divisions. We'll be editing them later. We'll use Messi for now. And we still need a few more divisions. Let's do some Division Colonial, like 12 of them. These guys are pretty much optional. I'm going to use them to hold some borders in Africa and Corsica. Gather up all the Air Force and exercise them, and gather up all the Navy. We'll deal with those later. Right now we can join the German faction. You cannot do this if you're still at war with Ethiopia, or if you've won too late and Ethiopia is in resistance mode. That's why you need to be fairly early, and this is good enough. Let's split off the submarines, give them to whatever admiral, for instance this guy here. Some admirals will also leave your side if you choose to change ideology, but for now they will do. These are not submarines. We'll move all the fleets over to Weser Ems, and we'll get radio. Also go to the Divisione di Fanteria and edit it with an extra infantry unit. We should be good enough to handle it. And with all the exercising and moving around, we should get a little bit of fuel. If you're planning on forming the Roman Empire, you should probably hold on to Italy in Libya. Otherwise, you can release them. I'd like to keep my options open, so I'll just keep Libya occupied. Servizio Informazione Militare created an intelligence agency, so let's upgrade it with whatever you feel like. We will not be doing Triumph in Africa. Completing Triumph in Africa will open up the balance of power, and I'd like to avoid that. Why is that? The balance of power starts off at 35% on the side of Benito Mussolini. However, we'll be rushing the Allies, and once you win the war against a major, he gets a big boost in his balance of power, which makes it very difficult to change ideologies. We could stick with Benito, but I'm combining this guide with a few changing of ideology things. First the USA, and then we'll see what happens. I'd like to keep my options open, and let's face it, there's more than enough to do here on the left side. Things to look out for are Super Esercito, Super Herero, and Super Marina here. These focuses require you to be at war with a major. We're going to be at war with a major pretty soon, so we'll get ready to do these focuses while we're at that war. So we'll do Bandits War, Air Invasions, and Citadel Area. Let's get some spies, and the next upgrade, we'll put this guy to work in the United States. Construction and recon. This is pretty much the basics you need to take care of in the early game. Some reserve divisions already. We'll put these on Corsica and on the border with Egypt here. 150 pp. Let's have a look. There's a lot of advisors to pick from here. A lot of them are locked out. That's all right. There's a silent workhorse here, and he requires you to be fascist. He's still pretty good, and I'm going to switch ideology much later in the game, so we'll pick him for now. We need Army Chiefs, Navy Chief, and Air Force Chief. And we need to go to war economy and extensive conscription, I guess. Maybe not. We'll see. That's a Bandits War. We'll now go for air innovations. Bandits War allows us to get the Army Maneuver Expert, which is the best available here. What we might do is, if this guy ever reaches level 6, to promote him to Field Marshal, make him an offensive Field Marshal, and we would have an offensive advisor. But that's for much later. Let's have a look. 166 days. 50% network strength. We'll set one of these guys to quiet intel network and prepare a collaboration government. Benito is here and war economy is less expensive. Justification for Austria is complete. For optimal effect, we'll also use the Air Force, such as it is. Just a few fighters and bombers. Now, despite outnumbering them significantly, Austria is pretty tough to crack because of all the mountains and impassable terrain. Either Linz or Innsbruck will fall and we will have Austria. And here we are. Select all and take them. Alright, let's park the army here at Hanover. Why Hanover? Because this is a forest. Wilhelmshaven here is a marsh and your general will get ill. And we don't want that. We have some final additions to make here. Support anti-air and cavalry recon. Don't forget to re-exercise. Set up the naval invasion for the UK. We'll use teams of 2 divisions from the port at Hamburg to the tile below Hull and the 4 tiles above it. Like so. We'll set the Navy to strike force in these sea zones, and whatever air force we have left we'll set to the airfield above Hamburg. Just something like this. Now it's important to declare war on Malaya the very hour the justification finishes. The game no longer automatically pauses when the justification finishes, so you'll have to keep an eye on them manually. Also, we currently are at a big and a small focus before we have to get on. So we'll do expand Rome flying school, hopefully keeping some of our generals and field marshals alive. We'll just automatically repeat those collaboration governments. Always useful. Already activating the order for the naval invasion. Let's also get the army maneuver expert. Get the air safety specialist. Let's start training up a new set of armies. 36 divisions. 45 days, 46 actually. We can do a small focus. We'll do a naval power projection. We look at the Navy advisors. Commerce rating is a good guy, but he requires you to be fascist or utilize the black shirts. So in a lot of changes in government, you're going to get rid of this guy. Not doing anything in naval aviation, so we could be stuck with one of the specialists. Trying to keep my fleet alive, so decisive battle it is. Naval power projection. Going down to 4 speed because I want to be on the hour that we finish here. 49. 3 speed even. Want to get this right. And here we are. March 7, 1 o'clock of the AM. Let's go to Malaya, declare war. Let's pick a national focus, super. No, let's do super ejercito first. Because we were doing no focus, it'll be done in 25 days. Let's also go to the Dutch East Indies and justify a war goal there. Now you can use the war against the UK to pretty much pull in all of Europe, but stuff tends to go wrong when I do that. So I'll be limiting myself to the Benelux and France. Not much else. Also, if you're going for Yugoslavia and all this stuff, you need to guard your borders. Be aware if you spike world tension, Czechoslovakia will join the Allies out of hand. Right, so that's that. We'll have a look at our naval invasions. We unpause for 1 hour and we see that the naval invasion is launching. Pretty soon we'll lose our naval supremacy because the Brits are going to be active. But for now we'll do convoy escort on all of these guys, and hopefully these guys will come through. Let's have a look. Barely out, and we already lost the supremacy. Lost an agent, but that's alright. We're doing another collab government. 30%. Hull is unprotected. Doesn't always happen. If it doesn't, if you are forced to take it, try to surround the port and then attack it. You have the troops for it. Now that we are here, expand like madmen. Select these guys, the other 14 divisions, and manually move them over. As soon as this airfield is in play, take your air force and help out. London encircled, let's clear it out so we can take it whenever we need to. Super Ejercito is done. Since we're doing so well, I'm tempted to just also get Super Herero. But basically you can get Super Herero while fighting France and finish this war if you want to. Justification for Sumatra is done. They're being guaranteed by France, which is awfully nice. However, I would have preferred if they didn't. We'll go back to the Netherlands and declare war on them. And justify war goal on Belgium. We need Belgium to get to France. I don't want to naval invade France. For some reason, I get intercepted way too often these days. Super Herero and Wallonia. Justification. Let's expand naval facilities for now and declare war on Belgium. Justify war goal on France. 25 days. And let's finish off the Brits as soon as Belgium joins. Here we are. If you're going to form the Roman Empire in your game, you want all the coastal tiles in the Mediterranean, which includes Cyprus, Malta, and Gibraltar here, and just whatever is over here. Might as well take Egypt for the cleaner borders, like so. I'd like to puppet the UK with war reparations and resource rights. For cleaner borders, I'll just annex Netherlands and Belgium. South Africa has an independence modifier that I want to get rid of. We'll puppet Malaya and Dutch East Indies with just the resource rights. We'll remove the resource rights and just puppet Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the Raj. And that's about it. You can also take some navies. I'd like to have the UK with its own navy. They'll probably take better care of it than I can. There, beefy Italy. We're doing alright. Now we got a war goal on the France in a few days, so let's move the main army to the French border. Let's also move these guys back to Corsica, and these 6 divisions can hold here. Justification for France is done. Let's just get in there. Also justify on Luxembourg, because we can. Expand naval facilities. I mean, I guess we can do Super Marina and get all these focuses over with. We'll just have to hold off on actually conquering Paris until it's done. Another thing to look out for, because world tension is now through the roof. Revoke your guarantee on Greece. Albania. Greece is justifying on them, and it just messes up your mojo to go after them now if you're going to be focused on the USA. Super Marina is done, so we can take Paris, and we are done here. Let's move over to the research slot here. Expand national universities. You need to go through Italian highways, railway innovations, and investments in Edison. Once again, for Mare Nostrum, you need the coastal tiles in the Mediterranean, which is quite a lot in this case. Don't forget about Corsica here. Once again, we can puppet the rest, and we'll be fine. Outstanding opening move, if I say so myself. Let's go over to the Philippines and justify a war goal. 150 days to get ready. That will be in late 1937, early 38. Right, attacking through Canada. First off, it's interesting to upgrade the railroads here a bit. And then the ports. 16 with infantry. I've got 2 of these armies now on the northeastern side of the United States. Tactic will be to quickly push through here, encircling this pocket and destroying it, and then following along the coastline until I have capitulated them. There is an army on this border here. It's these guys. These are just recently converted Dutch East Indies manpower, because I didn't want to go to extensive conscription. All those trash troops are holding the border with Alaska and this tiny passage here, and these 2 passages here at the Great Lakes. I don't want to be invaded while I'm invading. All the fleets, I'll move to Nova Scotia here to get some naval supremacy here, hopefully get some convoy efficiency. That's going to be the bottleneck here. I forgot to train more motorized divisions, and these are even motorized. I'll just have to convert them. This will have to do 65 experience, but it's for a good purpose. Air crash. Whatever air force we have, we'll put them up here at Ottawa. And we're on our way for the 3rd collaboration government. It's only now, 1937, that I'm going to use MIOs. I needed the political power at first. What have I researched so far? Just basics in guns, preparing Marines here, recon company, and industry. Nothing too fancy, we're still in the early game. Justification for Palawan is ready, December 14. Let's go. We're not going to do anything with these Indonesian troops. They're just going to stand here. They have nothing on them anyway. This is where the action is. And we have to call in Canada. We already have the first encirclement here, pretty big. Boston is ours. You can see the United States at this time of the game is pretty empty. They are still on undisturbed isolation and disarmed nation. There goes Washington. Let's just battle line this. Seattle is mine, always a big victory point. Detroit, Chicago, Charleston, Atlanta. Let's just rush the VPs. That's the final victory point. We can now safely go to triumph in America. I mean, Africa. We'll be done in a few days anyway. And here we are. Now, for the pizza time achievement, we need to annex the United States, or at least the provinces as mentioned in the achievement. But for clarity's sake, I'll just annex everything. We'll put it to the Philippines, keep a target for Japan so we can have a defensive war against them. We'll also take the US Navy. Peak Italy. There we go. March 1938, barely 2 years after I annexed Italian East Africa, and the rushing of the United States is complete. We're in a prime position to also finish the Roman Empire and whatever achievement you want. We can even go for the Pope. Alright, let's continue a bit. Of course, we'll do the Provisional Government of the United States, Italian Protectorate of America. So evil. I also noticed a thing, I can take over the faction if I just have a few troops more. Triumph in Africa is done. Told you something about doing this. Slander the Duce, criticize the war effort, and question all the loyalties. And now we can convene the Grand Council. Italy has assumed the leadership over the Axis. This is my faction now, Germany, and you're out. That's gotta screw up their game. Let's depose Mussolini. And he's gone. We'll go for Monarchia d'Italia. We'll need non-aligned support for that, so we'll get the staunched monarchist here. This can go on for hours. I'm going to cut the video off here. Showed you what I needed to show. And you can do all that without entering that balance of power mechanic and save it for later. So you can still flip ideology and, for instance, get the Pope in power. First pizza time, get the United States, then how many guns does he have? How many divisions does he have? Conquer Moscow with the Pope. You're big and strong enough to do that anyway. Once again, thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye bye. If you like this video, please take a moment to press like, leave a comment or even subscribe. It really helps me grow the channel and reach other viewers like you. Thanks a lot and see you next time. Bye bye.